Alright, we get started. 1 second. Charles, what's going on? You're too quick. Alright. Yeah, you guys, we're in a moderate wind zone. So, hurricane force gusts were possible over in Western PA. None to be concerned about. Nothing to be concerned about. What's going on, son? Let's go live on TikTok as well. There we go. There we go. All right, let me let some people get in here. And we're going to start discussing the latest with our winter storm. So I haven't updated her model. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Winter. Well, here, let's do this. Let's do... yeah, let's do this. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Can I just do central? There we go. I don't need all the names. What's going on, guys? What's going on, Sandy? Just taking a look at the latest with this. Man, the GFS has the snow getting down pretty far south. Oh, sorry. This is the HRRR. Big snowpack here. I mean, the heaviest snow would be... What's with tonight? Well, we're talking about a few things. We've got a day 7 severe weather watch, which again, when they do day 7s, they mean business. So we need to talk about that. But I'm looking at the latest with the snow. This latest snowstorm. Let's take a look here. So this is the latest from the HRRR loading in. Let's take a look at the Euro's latest run. A little to the south. The GFS is much more aggressive with this. Look at this, 16 inches or more into the Twin Cities. I don't know about that. I think it might be too much. And then look what it does. I mean, the GFS gets super aggressive over the next couple weeks with this region. I think that's overdoing it a little, guys. Also, if you look at the Northeast, the GFS has snow really from Philly through New York City all the way up the coast. Do I think this is going to happen? Probably not. I think this snow is going to be farther to the north. We do have a big cool down coming. We'll get freezing weather again, unfortunately. At this point, I love winter, but at this point, I'm ready for spring. I do think we'll get below freezing for a little bit. I don't think we're going to get snow out of this, though. I think, this latest run wants to put snow. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this latest run on the GFS. So you've got this system coming over, kind of tilting, kind of like a mild little nor'easter, and it thinks this is a frontal boundary, and it thinks you're gonna get some back end snow there. I don't know about that. And then it sees this as well. This is probably the better the better chance for snow, but then you get rain right behind it. So accumulation isn't probably great, but look at all this weather that's pushing out here. Let's take a look at pivotal weather and let's take a look at some of this stuff. Yeah, no problem, Chop. What's going on, Julie? What's going on, Kyle? Emerson, I appreciate that. Yep, that's the goal. That's the goal, to be doing this full time one day. Year or two, I think I'll be able to. You know, I got to be able to make a living off it, make money off it, and I'm making a little bit, but you know, not enough to, not enough to leave my 9 to 5. So one day, you guys help though. The support helps, so I appreciate you guys. Laddie, what's going on, Dana? Because you know, I would be I'd probably be putting out 2 or 3 videos a day and be live streaming more. But I only have so much time right now, but eventually. Jay, I appreciate you. So here we go. GFS, blizzard-ish type storm right through pretty much Omaha up through Minneapolis, up through the Twin Cities. And then it has this back-end snow into New York City and up the coast. Really interesting. I don't know if that cold air is going to be there. You can actually see our main polar jet is actually up here. That's our polar jet. This is kind of just a subjet. So I don't know if that cold air is going to be there. If you have a strong enough low pressure, it'll pull cold air down to the surface. But this is an interesting one. You know, if you were to get this one, that you actually have your more of a kind of tilt from your main polar jet, that would actually help to inject more cold air down to the south. Again, I think this is going to be warmer, but you know, this does put snow down into parts of the mid-Atlantic, which is interesting. And then this right here would be your best chance to get late season snow, because this right here is your main jet up to the north. So this is actually very cold air. Unlike the other two, I don't know if it'll be cold enough. So let's take a look at this time frame. This is pretty far out, but again, it's going to be tough. But if you take a look at this time frame, guys, that is your what you could call your polar jet up there, really diving. Whereas the times before, you've got this that's bringing the storm, but this is your jet. This is your coldest air up to the north. So I don't have much faith in that. And then so you see the big difference here is when we get out here is, boom, watch this high pressure. Watch this high pressure. This is a high pressure right here. Watch it dig down to the south. Watch this. Look at that. You see that? And then suddenly in this corridor, you are freezing. Very, very cold. So if this does tilt up right, who knows? Could be a record-breaking late snow for the Mid-Atlantic up towards New England. I don't think it's going to happen. It's tough the later you get into the season, but there is a weak signal for it. Weak signal for it. So don't if it doesn't happen, don't say I said it was going to happen. Okay? There's a chance, because that makes sense why, you know, that's a very, very, and then watch the Euro do this too, guys. Look at the Euro. This is freezing, and this is a vertical trough. So there's model consensus between our two globals of this huge freezing event around the 27th of March. We've gotten snow in the mid-Atlantic in the beginning of April before. If this were to happen, that's the big question. If this were to happen the way that the European and the American models are seeing it right now, there actually would be a chance for snow all the way from DC up the coast. Let's see how this plays out. Look at that. Look how it plays out on the Canadian. Every single global model has model consensus on this huge drop in the jet. Look at this. So do I think we're going to get a big snowstorm? No. Do I think we could with this setup? 100% we could. But you need like the storm tracking and everything to be right. This is just a massive high pressure sitting down on top of your polar jet. This would hold cold air for a second too. Let me look at our teleconnections. Chat, I'm going to get to you in a second. This is really interesting. AO's going negative around this time. So neutral to negative, nothing screaming there. Look at this. This is what we're looking at. This is what's happening. This is our Eastern Pacific oscillation dipping down to about -2. Then NAO not doing anything special. Going to be at about neutral during that time. So And then your PNA is wanting to go negative. Your WPO and EPO going negative are probably the two things driving this. Very interesting. Really quickly, I want to look at the latest on the euro. Really quickly, I want to look at the latest on the euro, and then I'll get to chat with what it's doing with precipitation out here. Yeah, see, this is cold air. This is cold air. Let me look at the temperatures here. For late season, this is very cold air. I mean, guys, we're talking about March 28th. This is actual temperature. We're down freezing in Nashville as we're about to enter April. And we're basically this is our freezing line. So that's very, very cold air for a few days before April. And then you get this freezing line all the way down the mid-Atlantic. This is all freezing. So, I think it needs to be a little bit colder. It depends what's going on in the atmosphere above, obviously, but there's a window here. You can see this thing driving. You guys want to look at wind chills? Look at these wind chills. This is about to go into April. Crazy. We got wind chills, 32-degree wind chill almost down in Atlanta, just to the north of it. So, yeah, and you got the Canadian, the American, and the Euro agreeing. So, interesting. We'll have to watch this. Really cold. Holy crap. Look at that. Yeah, freezing. Freezing down in Atlanta with wind chill. Almost in April there. You've got, 24-degree wind chills in New York City. So, there's an opportunity here. I don't think we're going to get snow. But, the GFS thinks we're going to. And I think the Canadian does too. Let me take a look at that. Let me take a look at the Canadian real quick before I go to chat. Just flurries. No, yeah. Well, yeah, they all have this huge cold blast. So, interesting. It's just very... We might have some records set for that date, cold weather-wise. Really interesting. Chat, what's going on? Appreciate the follows and subs. I've been asking all year. Minnesota was. Yeah, we can take a look. Don't spam, though, because I'm not going to answer anyone who spams. You can ask the question more than once, but don't spam it like 18 times, Here's the latest HRRR. Here is the latest from the HRRR. So let's take a look at what it's doing snowfall-wise. Still has about 9 inches, 8 inches to a foot through the Twin Cities. Locally, someone could get more than a foot. That's the HRRR. That agrees with the GFS, I believe. Pretty close. The GFS has more, 15, 16 inches. I think the Euro's still holding south. Well, here, let's check our God, this is the AI Euro. So we don't want to look at that one. Let's check our actual Euro. See this? The Euro holding south? So that's interesting. Because the HRRR and GFS think a foot to a foot and a half in Minneapolis, and then the Euro thinks maybe a few inches. And this is only, this is around 50 to 55 hours away. Not even. This is 48 hours away. So either the American and HRRR are going to rush over to the Euro's projection, or the Euro is going to agree with the American and the HRRR. Let's pray the Euro. White Savage, where are you? 70s and snow a couple days later. Lordy, yeah. That's like what's happening in Omaha, right? Look at this, Omaha. Yeah, don't be mad at me if it doesn't snow. Yeah, this would be moving in. Yeah, this would be moving in. You can see this as it enters the plains, starts moving over Omaha. This is very early in the morning on Wednesday. Very early. We're talking like maybe 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Then Minneapolis, you start getting some bad weather moving in, potentially. Closer to 6 a.m., 6 a.m. Wednesday through the afternoon hours. And then it doesn't really move out until evening time. So it's like, really, it's like Minneapolis, it's like a 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., almost an all-day thing. Like the whole day you're awake until till after dinner time. And then, Wisconsin's getting in on some action. You could get this pretty far down to the south in Wisconsin. We'll have to see. Again, you can see our main jet up here. This is where the coldest air is. So, but again, our GFS paints a completely different picture of where the snow. Look at the GFS really cranking the snow up. 984 millibar low. What was the central pressure on our Euro? 984. But then it weakens quickly as it moves up to 991. I think the GFS holds this a little longer. It does. It doesn't even get, yeah. It doesn't even enter the 990s till it's off into the distance. So it's keeping this thing pumping a little bit longer. It's pulling more moisture off of the Gulf to feed this. The Euro is not pulling as much off. And if we take a look at the tilt of this thing as it's moving across, our GFS is really wanting to go from a neutral, a positive to a neutral to not really even that much of a negative tilt, but a slight negative tilt. And our Euro probably isn't doing that at all. Let's take a look. Yeah, our Euro is just pathetic. So we'll see. I mean, I would think the Euro tonight's going to have to make a move. If the Euro tonight holds its look, I'm going to agree with it. But I think it's going to end up pushing north with the GFS and HRRR. But only time will tell. Would you say New York had a good winter with snow this year? Well, there's charts you can look at for that. I have them. Let me see. Okay. This is, well, I want to go to an average and above average. Give me a second. I'll show you. I'll show you what you want to look at. Here you go. Let's look at this. First to date, March 17th. Here is how the season has played out. Here's how winter played out. If you're in the red, you had a bad below average snow season. If you're in the blue, you had an above average season. And if you're in the pink, you had an extraordinarily record breaking season. We know what happened down here. So New York as a whole, upstate up here obviously did fantastic. And then out here towards Buffalo did great. But again, where the majority of people live, Long Island, New York City, and the Hudson Valley did terrible. But I mean, the big highlight for me on this for bad snow is just this entire region. This entire region was supposed to see above average snowfall, especially this area right here. This area was, I'm talking Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin was supposed to have a crazy good year. And a lot of these areas way underperformed. So the only job you can get wrong every time, meteorologist, you have no idea what you're talking about. There's this saying, no matter how many times a meteorologist is right, people only remember when they're wrong. And it's true. Let me explain to you something. This severe weather outbreak with 300 tornado warned storms, 40 plus fatalities, red flag warnings everywhere, hundreds of homes burned down in the Central Plains. The Storm Prediction Center and NOAA put out a warning for that 10 days in advance. They said 10 days in advance, the atmosphere is setting up for a monster tornado outbreak through portions of Tornado Alley and Dixie Alley. Strong winds, high fire potential, 10 days into the future. They called that. Do you understand that that this isn't something that was possible 100 years ago? That was impossible. Both hurricanes we had at the end of the season in the Gulf, they called within 100 miles of the landfall location and within 20 mile per hour of the winds at landfall, like 5 days out. So 5 days into the future, they called exactly where it was going to make landfall and the wind speeds. Like, people get upset because a meteorologist says you're going to get, because they want meteorologists to be able to forecast down to their local zip code. Like storms don't work like that. Storms don't move in one big bubble and everyone gets snow or everyone gets rain. Storms band, meaning you can have you can have a squall line move over you and someone to your north, 5 miles to your north, gets 3 inches of rain and you get a quarter inch of rain because you weren't in a strong band. Our atmosphere is the most variable real estate of air in our solar system behind Jupiter. And people get upset when meteorologists are a tiny bit off from reading the future. Even though we can call hurricanes and severe weather outbreaks and severe winter storms a week or two in advance to prep people, these people who say that meteorologists are always wrong are just uneducated and ignorant to the science of meteorology. I mean, let's look at this again. This is a 7-day outlook, okay? So they're already putting a severe risk out for this area. They did this with our last storm. Over a week out, they highlighted this area and highlighted this area. You guys know where the biggest outbreak happened? Here and here. They called it over a week out. They're doing it again. So come back on March 24th when we have severe weather across the deep south and south central plains and tell me how meteorologists are allowed to always be wrong. It's just an uneducated statement. Anyways, let me go back. Let me answer some more questions. Sorry about that, guys. Did I switch? Oh, here we go. Yeah, Caroline. All right. Let's see. You narrow it down to a 25-mile range and not a 500-mile range. They literally highlight it. The states they highlight it were Missouri and Arkansas and Louisiana through Alabama a week ahead of time. That's exactly where it happened. They knew what the atmosphere was going to be doing 60 plus hours ahead of time. People in the 1600s would look at us and think we were wizards, but people now are just disappointed. Okay, make me a mod so I can block him. It's all good. I can do it. Anything for the PMW? You guys had a lot of cold air moving in right now. And then you got another storm system slamming into the coast come Wednesday night. That's going to be high elevation snow, low elevation rain. And there's going to be a lot. But look at this. Look at the total quantitative precipitation moving forward here 5 days in the Pacific Northwest. Look at this. Huge totals. We're talking 6, 7, maybe 8 inches along the coast. So, precipitation. Some of this is gonna be snow and high elevation. It's gonna be rain and low elevation. So you've got multiple storm systems moving into the coast. So this is gonna be a rainy week. You can see that all that moisture funneling in. But sorry, There's going to be a warm-up coming. This is as we get into March 23rd. We're seeing a ridge build up out west. And then as we push through the end of March, big cool down out east, which we were talking about earlier. Big warm-up out west. Mama, I appreciate the sub. Mama Michelle, I appreciate that. Jay. Nata Hada. I don't know how to pronounce, but I appreciate you. Christian Jay, I appreciate you guys. Mama Michelle, I appreciate that. Can you go over Wednesday storm in Wisconsin? Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple different outcomes here. So I'll use this. Weather Bell, you can get in really close on these states. So first we'll look at the European outcome. And here we go. First we'll look at the European outcome with snow. This is the European outcome. So you're not really getting much. Is this Green Bay? I always forget which one's Green Bay. Yeah, that's Green Bay. I was right. I should know that, though. It's not very impressive. 1 second. Yeah, so Green Bay getting a little bit, but really Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin not getting much. Big 4 to 8 inches through here. But watch as we push. Not a pot of gold. I appreciate you. Not a hada. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So here, let's look at the GFS. Seriously, thank you. GFS has a lot more snow. Also has a separate band to the south, putting almost 5 inches near, Milwaukee and Madison. We'll have to see where this actually sets up. But look what the GFS does up here to the north. Massive numbers. Huge numbers. Foot to 2 feet up there to the north. Now, actually, you know what I haven't looked at yet for this? Although the NAM does good on totals, but it does really bad on location. Let's look at the NAM. The NAM puts a lot of snow everywhere. So right now, I'm going to have to go. Listen, the HRRR I can already tell is agreeing with the GFS. So I rarely do this. I'll favor the GFS, but only for the location of the snow, not for the totals. I think the totals are going to take 4 inches off of all this, I think. Still a lot of snow, but we'll see. The Euro, these might push towards the Euro tonight. Yeah, that's true, Kyle. That's true, Kyle. Connor, do you think severe weather is going to be bad when they issued it 1 week later? Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about. When they issue for the SPC, we're in a La Nina. La Ninas are 2 to 3 times sometimes as with severe weather-wise worse than an El Nino. We also have a Gulf that's 1.5, almost 1.5 degrees Celsius above average temperature, which a lot of you know if you've been in my streams. Both of these things are, these both just completely amplify. They're why most people think we're definitely going to have an above average season, and some are calling for a record-breaking severe weather season. Hopefully not record-breaking. I think above average is almost certain, though. Yes, this is a 7-day outlook. I mean, if you guys look at the side here, it's like almost as far as it goes. They will only put this here if they have supreme confidence that something very dangerous could happen. So we really pay attention when they post 7 and 8 day outlooks, because that's kind of like they're thinking something sketchy could happen. Dixie Alley does need a break. Dixie Alley is where they expect the worst of this spring, unfortunately. Connor's Barber, what's going on? Oh my God, Connor's Barber, Connor's Weather Dungeon, Connor's Temperature Corner, Connor's Tornado Tundra. NTX, I appreciate you. Anything for Georgia? Here, let's go back here. Let's get back into pivotal weather. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream today. I've been getting more sleep lately, and shockingly, I feel better at work and during the day. And I'm like, maybe I'll try this getting more sleep thing, I was getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, and I was feeling like crap every day. Now I get like 7, and I feel good. It's a crazy, crazy concept, actually. So here's what's going on. A little bit of severe weather. I mean, we might see like a marginal risk. I think we actually do already. Let me look at that again. Do we have a marginal risk for Georgia on, what is it? Yeah, there we go. Day 3. They haven't pushed it over. I think they will. I think this is going to be a day 4 marginal. Let's go back here. So Georgia, yeah. Well, this would be a day 2. They might put a little severe on this. This would just be some strong thunderstorms. Nothing tornado or tornadic or anything to worry about. A little bit of cold air pushing down there though. This is interesting. I think this is our day 3 they're worried about. This could produce a little severe weather down here in the south. We'll see if that ends up, and this would be Saturday. We'll see if that ends up bringing some severe weather over into Georgia. But Georgia looks pretty good. Nothing too crazy happening in the near future. This right here is going to be interesting, though. Next Monday to start off the week, really Sunday night into Monday morning, we could have some issues here. So this is that day 7 here. The day 8. Tomorrow we might get a day 7 that might switch to day 6. I think we might get a day 7 slight here. So we'll have to see. Starting off next week, I think this could be a spicy little storm. Surprisingly, still kind of tearing up here. This we may get a risk zone actually up here too. Day 6 in enhanced Arkansas. Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna get it enhanced somewhere through here. Day 6 tomorrow. Yeah, will this one go moderate? I actually don't know. We can take a look at our severe params. They're typically not that good this far out, but we could take a look at them. Let's take a look at what our cape. Here we go. It's not much cape. You get all this cape out here to the west, but you don't really have the moisture, so or the shear. So we don't really care about that. So the Euro's not showing much cape. The Euro always underdoes cape though. So that's not really a surprise. The Euro always underdoes cape until you get close, like by a lot. This is pivotal weather. Oh, what's going on, Celine? I just saw you in there. Appreciate the follows, guys. Appreciate the follows and subs. I'm supposed to finally get my monetization back on YouTube tomorrow. I had set my stupid account up as a business and not a personal, and so they had to demonetize me for 32 days. While I set it up as an individual, but I'll have memberships and stuff on there and put up some kind of like content just for there. That'll be cool. I'm gonna sell some merch just for fun, just like funny stuff. Nothing serious. I've got some funny ideas. Julie, what's going on? Wednesday, severe weather. Yeah, so let's look at that. So here's our day 3 categorical, probabilistic. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. I want to see what the 4 panels outlook on this is. So let's take a look. Is the NAM is we might be able to get a look on the NAM at this here. Let's do this. Let's go back to the 18Z. Let's take a look at this. Severe weather. You see this little SIG tour right here? Look at that. Yeah, tornado chance near Chicago. Don't worry, this is not looking very dangerous. This is not looking, I mean, close to you. I mean, it wants to close to being able to have an EF2. If you guys get a tornado out of this and, in this region, it's probably just going to be EF1 or 0. Nothing too, I mean, it could mess with trees and stuff, but there's a little bit of a SIGTOR signal through here. You know, tornado params. Let's look at our helicity. We got pretty good rotation up here, especially up here. Yeah, near Chicago. I mean, this 700 surface cape. Storm relative helicity 179, 25 knot, lower level shear. SIGTOR param 0.8. You could get an EF1 or EF2 out of this Wednesday afternoon. I think the chances are low, and that's why they only have you in a marginal. Pretty low. Pretty low. But it's not impossible. Yeah. Little Wednesday afternoon surprise, huh? Interesting. I actually wasn't, guys, I wasn't even paying attention to that because I was like, Wednesday didn't look like anything. But right here, you start to get a little bit of cape and a little bit of helicity rotation, and there's just a chance something spins up. Not a very high chance. No one freak out. Well, you said you guessed winter's over for Long Island. The GFS thinks Long Island's getting more snow. Do I believe the GFS? Not too much. The GFS thinks the Long Island is getting more snow there. And then it thinks it's getting more snow there. And then it thinks it's maybe getting more snow there. I mean, the GFS is doing crazy stuff. But the Euro doesn't totally agree. What the Euro, GFS, and Canadian do agree on is a major polar plunge out at around this time frame. Out at around the 26th and 27th. They all see... The rest of those, the polar jet was to the north. This is a polar jet actually diving. So we're going to have actual temperatures below freezing here. All the way down to, you know, Virginia. We're going to have freezing temperatures here without wind chill. We'll have wind chills in the 20s and maybe teens up on Long Island. Last week in March, at least how it looks. We have model consensus across 3 globals. So there'll be an opportunity for snow there, but not a huge opportunity because there's a small window because the coldest air doesn't stick around that long because, you know, we're getting into late March. So, but there'll be a small window for a mid-Atlantic snowstorm. So I'm not betting on it, but it is a possibility what the GFS is seeing. It's just not a really, really great possibility. You said you only need a 3 for helicity? What, a 0.3? Is that what you're talking about, NTX? I mean, for SRH, for a good SRH, for like an SRH that could spin up a tornado, you don't want like over 150 at least. Santi, I'm going to guess your age. 24. You might be way younger or older. I don't know. I know it's a CFS model, but the 700-hour one. What does that say? Nor'easter, April 15th. You guys, should we look at this silliness? Ready? I want to see what this is showing. What do you guys think? Nor'easter, April 15th. This would not even be the setup for one. This would all be rain. It does put snow down there. Around the 27th, though, like the GFS shows. So, I still don't think it's happening, but it's possible. April 15th, Nor'easter. Lincoln, New England snow totals. What with the storm you've got coming up? Oh, Lincoln, Nebraska. I said New England. Let's look at that. Oh, yeah. Lincoln's just to the southwest of Omaha. Okay. So, well, let's look at the HRRR. Well, okay. We'll look at the Euro first. What are you, right here? So, 4 to 6, I would say, somewhere in there on the euro. GFS, 1 to 4 maybe. HRRR, 3 to 6. Right now, it's looking like I would say take the low end 2 to 4, but I would say take 3 to 5 as the best possibility right now. As the most likely case scenario, just from comparing the models. Do you think that Houston should stay on alert for severe weather? Slane, the polar vortex isn't, well, I don't think it's doing anything interesting right now for us. Let's see. Nothing too interesting happening. I don't think Houston's going to remain pretty dry for a little bit here until we'll see what happens here. This is the GFS, and I don't think the Euro sees this setting up like this, but this is next Sunday, and this would make me think you could get a slight all the way down into Houston. Because there would be a lot of rotation here at the tail end of this. On Sunday evening. Oh, Jay, is it really going to snow here? Minnesota-Iowa border. Let's look. We'll go to Iowa. Okay, here is your Euro, Minnesota-Iowa border. Big 6 to 10 inches here. GFS, what are we looking like? Pretty big snow. 8 to 13 inches here. HRRR. Actually, I should see that the short range NAM has been doing pretty good. HRRR really has 6 inches to a foot along the whole thing. What does our short range NAM think here? The short range NAM has done decent. I'll have to take it back to the 18Z. Yeah, I don't mind this. 6 to 9 inches across the border. Snow out in Colorado. Colorado. Take a look at this. Really, you get this snow and then not much more. This is your big snowfall here, which is happening really in the next 48 hours. You could get a nice one after it. Let's take a look at this. Let's go to our Euro. First snow system here could drop a foot through the mountains. And then you just have some flurries. You see this ridge that builds up in the west? Look at this huge ridge and huge trough. This is a trough. Okay. And this is a ridge. So you're going to have a big ridge building out west. That's going to be heat and dry conditions for a while. Man. Yeah, we were talking about Chicago severe weather. We were. You know, there's some discrete sells here on the euro. Let's zoom in. Some discrete sells here. All right, these are concerning. You've got a little bit of helicity. You got a little bit of cape. This is concerning, but you know we wouldn't expect to see any huge EF3, EF4 wedge tornadoes out of this. Maybe an EF1 or EF0. An EF2 could squeak through, but I should be using my HRRR. Let me do this. Let me see if it's going far enough for me. Here we go. Okay, see that there? The HRRR likes these forming a little bit later. This would be worse for Indiana. But these right here are going to have some capability of tornadic production there. Let's just go to our SIGTOR params. We were looking at this earlier, but you see that? Oh, geez. This dew point's a little weird. Yeah, I mean, this isn't terrible up there in near Milwaukee, and then yeah, I mean, you've got the potential. Yeah, 1,100 surface cape, almost 200 SRH, and then you've got 31 knot shear at the surface. So, yes, you could get a spin up around Chicago, but it's not like the most dangerous thing I've ever seen. But there's a region you're in a marginal. You may end up being put in a slight tomorrow. I think there's a chance this goes slight. I think it probably will go slight risk from a marginal, meaning it's at a 1 out of 5 risk right now. I think it's going to go up to a 2 out of 5. Let's look at our shear. I think the issue is shear. The timing of the shear. See, there's like none, and it's out to your east. It really starts cranking up over Indiana. There's a little bit here. So, we'll see. I think they'll go slight. I think they'll go slight tomorrow. All right. Classic cold core. Is this a cold core though? It's not really. It's got the cold air injection from the back. It's not very much, but you know, like this is like cold core is usually something that doesn't have that cold air assistance. It is pulling. I mean, it is pulling. Yeah, it is pulling a lot of cold air down that because this is your main jet up here, so it is pulling a lot of cold air down to the surface. Middle Minnesota for snow. You know, the Euro thinks this thing's even going to dive just to the south of the Twin Cities. I don't. I think the GFS and HRRR pull it a little bit more to the north like this. I think the GFS is overdoing it, but I don't think it's going to miss the Twin Cities. I don't think so. Bad weather for Cleveland. Right now, I don't think this is going to affect Cleveland. One second, guys. One second. This is going to bring a little baby squall line into Cleveland. Maybe a little bit of back end snow flurries. It'll get a little bit cold, but you've got a couple shots. You can see here rain, Flurries of snow, rain, maybe some snow there. There's a lot of weather. Again, as we get into this troughing pattern out west, guys, so let me show you this. Sorry, out east. We're going to, our jet stream is doing this big wobbly kind of zonal flow. We're going to see as we move forward as we push into next week, you know, a ridge set up, and then we're going to have a trough out east. So we're going to have some bad weather moving in out east with some cold air. So watch as this sets up as we get into next week. Boom, right there. See this big ridge overtaking the west, big trough overtaking the east. This is typically associated with storminess and more cold air. So this is Monday into Tuesday, and then look at this trough. Look at this, just continue to hug. Now we're all the way into Thursday, and then we get a little ridge, and then here comes another trough. So we'll have to see. I think most of next week is going to be pretty cold, and we're going to have a chance for a lot of storms out east. Once this big trough takes over here, someone's going to get a surprise snow. We could see something on the coast because this is a pretty significant, pretty amplified trough for late April. I mean late March. Oh, oops. That's what I'm looking for. That dang is pretty amplified. Is it going to snow in Baltimore? Probably not. There's like a small chance in that 26th to the 28th time frame that you're going to have cold enough air. You will for a little bit there, but timing has to really be right because the cold air is not going to stick around very long. Newfoundland's going to get some snow moving up from some of these storms, I think. Especially once this trough comes out over the east. I was just pointing at my screen like you guys could see it. Especially once we start seeing this thing dig. There's going to be multiple snowstorms, 1 and 2, and maybe even a third. Probably at least 2 that try to push up there. We're going to get back to having that cold air settled into the east for a little bit. Update me Iowa weather-wise. Well, if you're in northwestern Iowa, you're probably going to see some good snow on Wednesday. There's going to be back-end snow, I think, into all of Iowa, but some of it's just going to be flurries down in the south and eastern Iowa on Wednesday. It's going to be windy, though. It's going to be a lot of wind with this. You guys want to take a look at the wind? It is going to be windy. So here you go. You've got gusts 60 miles per hour. Omaha pushing into Iowa. These are surface gusts. 55 miles per hour, probably pushing 60. Plus over in Indiana and Ohio as well. So this storm's going to be ripping through. So Chicago, this is what we're talking about, blizzard. You see a 62 mile per hour gust, 54 up here. So you're going to have snow with very, very, very strong wind gusts. So blizzard conditions are looking likely for a decent amount of people there. It's tough to say on the Twin Cities because our good snow model doesn't agree with the HRRR and the GFS. The Euro has this storm holding. This is Wednesday. The Euro has this storm holding just to the south of the Twin Cities and only putting about 1 to 3 inches in the Twin Cities. But the HRRR and GFS have almost a foot into the Twin Cities. Our 00Z tonight from the Euro is going to be really important because I think either the GFS and HRRR are going to agree with the Euro or the Euro is going to move towards the GFS. So I'm tired of snow. I know. Well, when you live up in people who live up in Minnesota know you can get big snowstorms all the way even through April. You guys can get Minneapolis. Sometimes you get snow in the beginning of May. But April snow is March and April snow is normal up there. Sassy and us. What's going on? I appreciate you guys. Northwest Georgia. We'll see what happens next Monday into Tuesday. Next Monday we could end up getting a some severe risk or some severe weather risk zones out there with some possibly record-breaking cold air for the end of March. We had some Some models showing wind chills getting down to like 28 degrees in Atlanta next week. So that'd be some really late season cold air. I mean, all the globals agreed. So 31st of March. Yeah, that's too hard. I mean, 31st. I mean, that's like 2 weeks. 2 weeks out. These aren't going to be accurate 14 days out typically. You can almost guarantee you it's going to be warm. Because this troughing is going to move out, and then we're going to get back in a warm pattern down there in the Gulf. How do I feel about John Cena being a bad guy? I don't really watch it. I would feel I do watch some, and I feel like it's going to be hard to believe. Like, I feel like it's going to be hard for people to buy it because he's been a good guy for so long. We'll see how well he plays the bad guy. How does anyone look at John Cena, Mr. Make-A-Wish, as the bad guy? Who do I have winning March Madness? I went to Florida State, and they're not in it, but my whole family went to UF, so I'm rooting for the Gators so they can be happy. I would not root for the Gators in football, but in basketball, Seminoles have been bad for so long. I'll let the Gators win and my family be happy. What's going on, Pam? What is going on? Is there going to be another tornado outbreak? We're watching next Sunday. Next Sunday into Monday. We have a day 7 slight, which is makes us a little nervous. This would be crazy right here too. We're watching this event here. So this would be Sunday evening and then all the way through Monday evening as it moved off the coast, possibly into Tuesday morning. So right now we do have a day 7 risk on this, and this is going to be pushed into a day 6 slight, and I think we're going to get a day 7. I think this is going to become enhanced. Well, it will become enhanced. Maybe not day 6, but it will become enhanced. And I think we're going to get a day 7 slight that's going to transfer out here as well. When they label it that far out, they're never going to put more than a slight until it gets closer. I won't say it. I'm not an Alabama fan. Nope. I actually almost went to Alabama. I got accepted into Alabama, and then the last 2 college tours I did were Alabama and Florida State, and I actually chose Florida State because I literally, and I'm not just saying this, I chose Florida State simply because I really liked Alabama. I really loved the stadium. When they gave me the tour of the stadium in Alabama, I was like, I'm sold. I'm going to Alabama. And then I knew Florida State had a good meteorology program, and so I almost didn't tour Florida State. And then I was like, all right, I'll tour it. And Florida State, and I ended up choosing Florida State because the campus was just so beautiful. Like, Alabama has a really nice campus. Florida State still blew it out of the water though. Like, Landis Green, Florida State's campus is it's the second biggest brick importer in the entire United States. There's not one building on that campus that's not brick, and it's all hilly and rolling greens. I literally ended up choosing Florida State simply because of how the school looked. I was super close to going to Alabama though, because it does have a nice campus, and the football stadium was pretty sick. It was close. It's not like Alabama has an ugly campus. Florida State was just, to me, blew me away. Jack, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's not really. You're like an hour and 30 minutes from the nicest beach. There's not a close, nice beach to, it's all swampiness near Florida State. Yeah. Alabama, I was like, what am I going to do? Is it going to absolutely nuke Salt Lake tonight? Oh, you're talking about this? You guys are going to get some good snow. Let's go in there and look at the HRRR. Here you go. Let's look at Kuchera. Tons of snow in the mountains. Not a ton on the surface. You know what I mean? You're seeing over a foot in these dark pinks, purples, almost up to 2 feet in some of these areas. Look at that. That's 2 feet of snow. So, but you know, down at the ground, it's not a ton. Mountains are going to get a foot or two though. That's going to be nice. How much for Wyoming? Let's take a look up there. Let's go into the 00Z so we can see this a little bit further. Again, you know, a lot of this is going to be snow, elevation snow. Look at, I don't know what mountain range is right here, guys. What mountain this is, but 50 inches. You've got 41, potentially 44. I mean, this is multiple feet of snow for these high elevations. Multiple feet. I need to move my radar to the bottom to see better on TikTok. Wait. That's where it used to be, and everyone complained and said they couldn't see anything because the chat was over it. You'd rather my map be behind chat? Is that what you'd rather? It used to be there. It used to be down there, and everyone was like, "We can't see your map. It's behind chat." That's why I set it up like this. Someone said, "Move your radar down." No, I tried that. Will the storms coming Sunday be bad as the storms this past week? We gotta wait and see. I don't think so, but. I think we'll probably at least get a. Well, usually when they put a day 7 slight, you're at least expecting a moderate. So I think we'll probably get a moderate. So we could see them as bad as they could be pretty bad. If I'm just being honest, yeah. Is Minnesota all done with snow this season? Absolutely not. You guys are about to get a freaking blizzard in like 50 hours, 48 hours. Have you been watching the news? Or are you just trolling me? Here. Let's zoom out here. So the GFS thinks this is big snow for the Twin Cities. The Euro thinks it might miss a little bit to the south, but I mean, this is a blizzard. If it follows what the GFS and HRRR think, this is a blizzard for Minneapolis and most of South, especially southeast Minnesota. Well, I'll take the compliment. So yeah, no. Minnesota's and the GFS doesn't just have that; it has another. Like DJ Khaled said, another one, and maybe another one. So, and maybe another one. So, we'll see. We'll see. Definitely a little bit more snow, though, for you guys. DC is not getting snow. Probably not. Do I think Nebraska will get hail? If you do, it's going to be a little pebble hail. You're not going to have a ton of cape with this thing as it's moving through you, so probably not. You need a lot of cape to get hail. You need strong updrafts. Yeah, I mean, Omaha, you have some models showing 2 to 3. You have some models showing a foot. I think the safest would be like 5 to 6 right now in Omaha. Cape, yeah, convective available potential energy. So Cape is created when you have differing air boundaries colliding and you get strong. A lot of times it happens when you get cold and warm air interacting, and the warm air is forced up at a fast pace. So out ahead of frontal boundaries, you get a lot of Cape. Strong updrafts, typically, or you can have it at extremely low pressure, or you can have the moist air pushing into dry air, and then you usually typically have that moist air rising, so you get Cape there too. A lot of different ways to get Cape, but usually it's just air boundaries colliding and forcing strong updrafts. If you have a lot of divergence up near the tropopause, a lot of divergence, you can get a very very low pressure, and you can get air rapidly rushing up as well. Quick question: are you going to school for meteorology, or are you through school? I went to school for meteorology for 3 years, and I actually didn't end up finishing my degree. I ended up leaving. My life's been crazy. I ended up leaving. I had some personal issues, and then I ended up leaving. And I got a degree in sound engineering and music production, and then I toured and DJ'd and produced music for a long time and lived out in LA. And then I was considering going back to school just to finish my degree because I was pretty close. And then there's been, over the years, tons of layoffs, and you work really long hours. They don't pay well. And so I was always trying to figure out what I wanted to do because I kept studying. I kept studying meteorology my whole life. It's always been, I've been obsessed with meteorology since I was like 6. My uncle's a meteorologist out of New York. But this is what I actually like doing. I think this is the most fun way to do it. I think like the content creation and eventually doing this full time and then chasing. And I think this is what I want to do with it. So the goal is to make this full time. It's not yet, but it hopefully will be sooner than later. We just got a blizzard warning for Sergeant Bluff, Iowa. How much snow? Oh, did you just get a blizzard warning there? Really? I don't see any blizzard warnings out yet. Actually, maybe. Oh, I don't have them on. You got a winter storm warning or blizzard watch? Probably got a blizzard watch. Nope, nothing out there yet, unless this is lying to me. You guys will get a blizzard watch, though, and probably a warning, honestly. Winter weather advisories. Yeah, I mean, this is the storm that's heading out towards you. You can see all the... Oh, you guys can't see what I'm looking at here. I'll show you my screen. So we've got... This is the storm. We've got all sorts of advisories and warnings out here. These are going to be shifting off to the east as the storm moves off to the east. So you can see this on the HRRR. This is actually a pretty good way to look at it. Let's go to winter weather. Here's what our HRRR thinks. Watch this develop. Look at this. I mean, that's one powerful looking snowstorm, isn't it, guys? You know what I mean? So, that's one good looking snowstorm. Look at that thing. Do I think you get snow down here in Kansas City? I don't know about that. But if you guys want to see on here where it's putting snow, there you go. How bad is the severe weather for Chicago supposed to be? Not bad. You guys might get a slight risk, which is a 2 out of 5, but I expect you to get a slight risk, actually. Jack, Pam, Hope, BC, what's going on? All right, let me get out of here. Let me turn all these alerts off. There we go. All right. Is Texas okay? Yeah, Texas is fine. Yeah. Um, this is the weather we're looking at. This is our day 2. 4-panel. Nothing crazy to worry about. A little bit of a hail outlook for Iowa and Omaha. Tomorrow. Tonight into tomorrow. Or yeah, tomorrow into Wednesday. And a little bit of a just severe thunderstorm. Getting into day 3. Right now, we have a marginal risk. I think we may go slight through here. I think we may go slight through here. Just based on our SIGTOR params and helicity and Cape and all the severe weather stuff. I think we might go slight through there. Possible we get a little spin up through there. So hopefully not, though. It's not looking crazy dangerous. Yeah, Fade, memberships are back. I think tomorrow. It said I had to wait till March 18th. And then I'm going to start trying to actually put some fun stuff together for my YouTube. I appreciate that, Fade. Yeah, I'm late. Nebraska is getting a blizzard. Are they not? Is no one talking about this there? I mean, this thing is going to... Even the Euro has this thing 984 millibars pumping snow into Omaha, possibly just north of Omaha. Look at this. So, yeah, buckle up for Wednesday. Yeah. Illinois, you could get some back-end snow. This isn't really supposed to be a blizzard for you guys. Some interesting stuff down the road, though. Listen, tonight, the Euro is going to be really interesting. I think the Euro is going to hop on board with the GFS or HRRR, or the HRRR and GFS are going to hop on board with the Euro, and we'll iron out our snow totals tomorrow. I'm going to post a video updating this snowstorm and the potential next one and the severe weather tomorrow, and I'll be back on live tomorrow. I am going to get some sleep because I've been feeling better every day since I've been sleeping more. So I'm going to try to keep up that trend. Snow for you in central Kansas Wednesday. I think it's going to be more flurries. I know some of these models put snow down there. If anything, I think you'll get flurries. Yeah, I mean, the Euro does like snow. Oh, man, the Euro really does like that snow pretty far down into Kansas. Central to northern Kansas could end up with a surprise few inches. You could. You could. I'll post about that tomorrow. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Yeah. I burned myself out for a while. You guys know every time I was on stream, I was like dead tired, and I'm feeling good now, but I'm trying to keep that up. Work's kicking my ass, so I'm trying to kick my work's ass right back, you know? I just have to commit to some longer streams on the weekend. Since my weekday streams are cut down, I want to do some longer streams on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. These colors mean snow. Dark blue is a few inches. Light blue is a couple. Pink 6 inches. Dark pink is 12. All right, guys. I will be back on tomorrow. I'll post another video. Sorry, I'm cutting down my stream times a little bit, but I just gotta catch up on some sleep and work. I'll still be posting every day and coming on here every night. I try to get on around 9. I always end up being late at like 9:30 or something, but weekends I usually do 2, daytime and nighttime. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Everyone have a great night.